there's a complete disconnect between the banking system and the way in which expenses and company spending really operates.
This is Velocitize Talks, and I'm Eric Jones. I'm here with Darren Upson, the VP of Small Business Europe for Soldo. Darren, good to meet you.
Good to meet you too.
Tell us a little bit about Soldo and your unique value proposition in the marketplace.
So Soldo is a spend management solution. What does that really mean? So we effectively have a fintech solution that replaces the need to ever do an expense report. So you get Soldo cards, the Soldo app. You control the way money is distributed across the organization. It gets rid of a lot of headaches and makes the lives of employees and finance much, much easier.
And you're very much essentially defining an entirely new category. Tell us a little bit about the work that you've done in that regard.
Sure. So, I mean, in the segment that we're operating, obviously there's bank accounts. There's also expense management solutions as well in the market. Both are fine, but there's a complete disconnect between the banking system and the way in which expenses and company spending really operates. Most of it's designed purely for individual use rather than multi-use. So what Soldo was done, we created the Soldo solution to get rid of the inefficiency in an organization and handle the process of making company payments and employee payments all the way from the payment through to reconciliation. So getting rid of all that manual administration, getting rid of all the hassle, and getting rid of bits of paper with sellotape and receipts and all that good stuff that everyone enjoys about their monthly expense report.
Don't we all? Yeah. Tell us a little bit more about that. Your sort of multi-user spending account. Feature that you have and how it all works.
So effectively, we have a product that's suitable for companies of all sizes. It scales from anything from a couple of users all the way up to thousands of users. What we have is, as I say, you have Soldo cards, they're MasterCard cards, that you issue those out to employees and also to departments as well. Every user has the Soldo app. The app controls how much it gives you a running total of how much you've got available to spend. As soon as you made a payment, it sends across an alert, prompts you to take a photograph of the receipt, categorize the expense. You can do all that great stuff. And then, as I say, it means that you never have to do an expense report. But the benefit isn't just from the perspective of the employee. Also, the actual finance team benefits significantly because what you're doing is if you think about the way that company credit cards, for example, operate, you give a card to people. It's like giving a loaded gun to employees because they can go and spend money wherever they want to spend it. With Soldo, what the finance team can do is effectively set preemptive spending controls. So you can set controls before any money's been spent. So you can say this user can spend a maximum of this amount per transaction, or this amount per day with these types of merchants with these geographical restrictions. So you're effectively giving a card to employees and empowering them to be able to spend money in a responsible way. But there's rails on the card. There are rules associated with that mean that it can't be abused.
That's awesome. You basically built your website on WordPress, like another fintech startup, Klarna. Mm-hmm. Tell us why you chose WordPress and how you're benefiting from that platform.
So the existing website. So we're going actually through a project at the moment to re-platform the site. We're keeping on the WordPress platform, but really taking it up a notch. So the existing website was built with limited in-house resource. Everything was managed internally. We weren't using any external resources whatsoever. We're going through a process at the moment to redo the website, to take advantage of best-in-class technology to speed the website up, to optimize for conversion. The reason why we like WordPress is because it's a platform that is it's scalable, but also we can leverage resource from external agencies to help support us very, very easily. From a platforming perspective, we can easily re-platform to another hosting provider if we need to as well. So it's very flexible in that sense.
Mm-hmm. Tell us to drill down on the whole expense cycle. Soup to nuts, how have you helped simplify that whole expense cycle?
Okay, so if you think about the process for the majority of people, most people don't think there's a problem with the way in which they manage expenses. They think it's...
I certainly do.
It's that kind of like the pain in the ass moment that everyone has on a monthly basis. But the truth of the matter is, every month most employees are putting their hand in their own pocket, paying for things on behalf of the business, reclaiming those expenses, and suffering the pain associated with whether it's 30, 60 days, whatever it might be, to actually get that money paid back to them. We believe that's fundamentally wrong for employees to have to subsidize a business. So what we've done is we've put in place a solution that, as I say, it gets rid of that process completely. What's happening is finance and the team that runs the organization give cards to employees so they can spend money. And as soon as they've spent the money, that gets rid of the expense report completely. So effectively, it's releasing those employees to be able to spend their time in a much more productive way rather than dealing with endless admin associated with expense reports.
You mentioned your app earlier, and obviously that's a critical part of your business. How do you ensure that the app communicates seamlessly with your website and vice versa?
So the app itself, the app and the website, there are two different components. We have the app is there as a companion app to support the card as much as anything else. And then we also have a web console as well. The web console is effectively the web interface to support a user. So that's really logging into the actual product. So that's separate from the core website. Effectively, if you're an administrator, your usage of our platform will be on the website, effectively on the web portal. If you're a user, you rarely will have to log into the web portal. Most of what you do is operating with the app, and it's just supporting a payment. It's very natural. If you're used to using Monzo or any of the kind of like the neobanks, on a personal level, this is exactly the same. You're just doing it for business, which is why a lot of the fintechs out there, like Monzo, Curve, and those types of providers, they run on Soldo.
Tell us a little bit about what you're doing to educate the market on spend management and all of the material that you're beginning to populate on your blog in that regard.
So there's a few elements there. So education is one of the biggest inhibitors, I think, in order for us to actually be able to really drive the business even faster. What we've done is we've built out some amazing content on our website. So we've created a resource center on the website, which is housing all of the kind of common questions that people would ask relating to, what is spend management? What is the challenge in my organization? As I say, we're trying to talk to people that don't even realize that they've got a problem at this moment in time. So we're trying to tee up the issue, highlight the business problems associated and the inefficiencies associated with the way in which expenses have been done historically, and then serving up some great content. And we've also got a blog as well, and that's being re-platformed as well. So at the moment, we have two separate WordPress instances. We have a WordPress instance for the website and one for the blog. That's all being amalgamated together as part of the new website when it launches in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, and I have to say you've done a great job of pulling in all sorts of thought leaders on your blog, to kind of opine on all number of different issues in financial management or expense management and that type of thing.
Yeah, I mean, we've tried to incorporate different types of thought leaders across multiple segments. So whether it's Jason Bates from 11FS or whether it's the team from Emma. Finance, or whether it's one of some of the latest ones. It's just trying to get great thought leaders that can really kind of highlight the opportunity, I guess, of leveraging best-in-class fintech solutions to help drive businesses faster.
Yeah. One of the questions we love asking our guests is a book that you're either reading that you'd like to recommend or one of your favorite books of all time.
So it's very relevant, actually. I've started reading a book called Play Bigger. Play Bigger is all about category definition and category creation, and it's really interesting. Just following on from the funding round that we had earlier on this year, where it's really starting to look at what is it that businesses need to be able to do to actually win their category. So looking at examples like Uber, looking at examples like Airbnb, how did they create a new category? The hotels already existed, Airbnb came along. They were never going to get rid of the hotel industry, but actually creating something that's different, that's disruptive, that changes the way in which people operate. It's exactly the same as what we're trying to do in the banking segment and the expense management segment too.
Thank you, Darren.
Thanks.
That was Darren Upson, the VP of Small Business Europe for Soldo.